guys, it's Carl Brown from GL365 Academy. Another holiday classic for you today, and this one was some killer guitar work by Chuck Berry. We're gonna learn how to do a Run Rudolph. So this one is fun, challenging, got some challenging kind of really blues-based riffs that really Chuck Berry invented. So you've probably played these before, but now you know where it came from. But the chord work itself, if you want to do it like it's on the album, is quite challenging. I'm going to show you some simplified ways of doing it, I'm also going to show you exactly how Chuck Berry did it. He's obviously got very, very long fingers. His fingers are probably as long as my foot, so you might not be, it's a big struggle for me to do it as well, to do it in the proper octave that he's doing it in, but I'm going to kind of show you how to cheat it as well. All right, before I get into it though, please subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and ring that notification bell so you know when I release a new video, so you can like and comment them hopefully and all that good stuff. And if you really enjoy what I do here on YouTube with all these song lessons, really the best way to support me is to join my Guitar Academy. You'll see a link to my academy in the description below. My Guitar Academy, if you don't know what it is, contains all of my guitar courses. Complete courses for complete beginners to more advanced courses on technique, improvisation, ear training, theory, guitar tone. You get personalized support from me. I also go live every week with Academy members, so you can have like a live chat session with me, and it's really cool. Got a nice community over there, so please go check it out. All right, so let's jump into this track. So I'm in standard tuning. So we have basically 3 solos, the intro solo, the main solo in the middle, and then this quick little outro solo too. So I'm going to start here with this intro solo, then we'll go through the chord work. So this intro solo looks like this. All right, so he's going to slide up the G string up to about the 9th fret. You can just do it with your middle finger. And then you're going to get to these double stops at the 8th fret across the B and the high E string. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just hit those 5 times. And then what you're going to do is hit the double stops here at the 10th fret on the B and the high E together. And then he's going to come over here to the G and the B strings. You're going to play the double stop at the 8th fret there. But real quick, so it's kind of, this note's like a grace note. You're going to quickly hammer on to the 9th fret there on the G. So you still have that bar, you're playing both 8s, and then you just hammer on from 8 to 9 on the G. So we have this. And then over to the 10th fret there on the D string. So then we kind of do that again. So you basically did that same lick twice, but you started both sliding in on that G string. And then we're gonna kind of do an abbreviated version of it. We're gonna play just the double stops on the 8 and across the B and the high E just once. And then you're going to jump down, instead of doing the 10s on the B and the high E, you're going to jump down and do them on the G and the B. And that's how you're going to do them for the most of the rest of the song. And then that quick little hammer again from doing the double stops at the 8th fret on the B and the G, over to the hammer on to the 9 on the G, over to that 10 on the D. So we have this. And then you're going to go back and hit the double stops here at the 8th fret there on the B and the high E string, and you're going to kill them. So you just kind of hit those double stops and then come back and hit the 10 on the D a little bit and kill that. So you're just kind of doing a lot of like kind of staccato playing there. So hit those 8s. And kind of hit those, and come back and grab that 10, and then just back on the 8 double stops. And then that little ending thing is you're going to play the 11th fret there on the high E string, 10th fret on the B. And as you play those and start bending up that note that's on the B string, So the whole intro solo. All right, and now we get to the chords, which are actually harder than the solo. So he basically starts in the middle of a blues progression at the beginning of the song. So when he comes in with his first line, he's already on the 4 chord of the blues progression. So this is just a standard 1-4-5 blues progression song, really. But he does mix it up a little bit, like the timing of the chords. And there's one section that he does some really challenging chord work. Anyway, so the actual voicing he's playing in is down here, which is quite tough. So let me just kind of, out of the intro solo, we have this. So it's a 1-4-5 in C, but he's what makes it kind of awkward, that you know for us at least, is he starts in the middle on the F. So let's talk about this F. So this is the first fret on the low E string, the 3rd fret there on the A, and what he's doing on the recording is he's playing that little power chord, but then he's coming up here, grabbing the 5th fret there on the A while still holding that F, and then back. So that's a very common kind of rock blues type thing that really Chuck Berry created. So obviously these were probably very comfortable for him, not so much for the rest of the earth, but so that's what he's doing, that little rhythm figure. And then he goes up to the C. So that's the same thing, but off the 3rd fret of the A, 5th fret of the D. And then when he goes to the G, it's just everything moved down 1 string, or up 1 string from the floor, but down in pitch. So that's that same 3, 5, 3 on the low E, 5 on the A, and you're reach up and grab that 7. And then back to the C. So it's that progression that's going on underneath that. Out of all the rain dances, you know you're the mastermind. C, then to G. Run, run, Rudolph, run if ain't too far behind. Back to C. So that one G to the C. Then you stay on the C. Run, run, Rudolph to the F. Santa's gonna make it to town. Back to the C. Then to the F. Santa make him hurry, tell him he can take the freeway down. Back to the C. Then to the G. Run, run, Rudolph, 'cause I really like a merry-go-round. And on the C. All right, how are we gonna make this a little bit easier? So we can still play this same voicing, or same octave, let's say that, and voicing, of this C. We could play it here at the 8th fret on the low E string, 10th fret there of the A string, and then we go up to the 12. So that's in place of that one. So that actually sounds the same as the recording. Now the bad thing is, now we're gonna have to move this F up an octave, which does not sound like it is on the recording. It's an octave higher, so it doesn't sound as cool, but your hands are gonna like it a lot more. So we have basically the octave of this F. Whenever you get to that F in the song, it's the 8th fret on the A, 10th fret of the D. So it's the same thing, move, but much easier to do. And then the G is just 2 frets higher than that. So basically, if we played them there, the F here, G here, and then C here, we would have this. Out of all the ranges, you know you're the mastermind. Run, run, Rudolph, ran over too far behind. Run, run, Rudolph, Santa's gonna make it to town. Santa make him hurry, tell him he can take the freeway down. Run, run, Rudolph, 'cause I'm running like a merry-go-round. So you see what we're doing there. We're just kind of cheating it a little bit. So it's the same chords. We're just making the voicings an octave higher for the F and the G, which is going to make things a lot easier. It's still not like an easy stretch up there. All right, so now coming out of that, then we have kind of the next verse, which is still just using the C, F, and G. So we have this. Said Santa to a boy child, what have you been longing for? All I want for Christmas is a rock and roll electric guitar. And then away went Rudolph, whizzing like a shooting star. All right, so that's just kind of more of the same. Just that this one actually starts on the one chord, so it's a little bit easier to follow. So we just have the C, F. So this is like a typical blues. F. So you can kind of predict where that goes, right? C. 5-chord, G. All right, now this is where Chuck goes a little bit crazy. This part right here is almost impossible. It's going to be almost impossible for most people to play. I'm really struggling to do it myself. So it's it looks like this. So as if these stretches weren't already extreme down here in this area of the fretboard, he removes it up even another fret. So he's doing, so this, I guess you can just call this the chorus, the first chorus, the second chorus or whatever. So what he's doing there, he's got that 6 and he moves it all the way up to a minor 7. So, it's crazy. I know most people aren't going to play this. This is here for completeness sake. All right, so if you want to know what this is 3 on the A string, 7 on the D. So you start there, and then move that note up on the D string to the 8th fret while you're still holding that note here. And then come back down to 7, and then 5. You play it like that, or this. So he does that 4 times on the C. Then, unfortunately for us, he does it 2 times on the F. So you can go all the way down here. I mean, this is just ridiculous. One time, first fret on the low E, 5th on the A. And you're going to play those, and then move that up to the 6th fret. This is some Alan Holdsworth stuff here, let me tell you. So you got up to the 6th fret on the A, and then back down 5, and then 3. So wait this. All right, and then we so back to the C a couple times, and then when he goes to the G in the progression, it's the normal one that we did earlier, and then back to the Tower of London stretch. So all together for that part looks like this. Sorry. if you're somebody that's got like super long fingers, this might not be that difficult for you. I've got pretty long fingers, and it's almost impossible. So anyway, once again, we can cheat that. Just play the chords the same. Nobody's gonna notice. Just do it like we were doing earlier. And obviously up here. So you'll notice that when he's here, he's actually hanging out on the C like twice as long as you'd expect. So it's because he's doing that little melody on him. So you can do that up here. So now we get to the solo, thank God, because really I feel like my fingers are about an inch longer than they were 10 minutes ago. All right. So let me play through the main solo for you, and then I'll show you how to play it note for note. So we start this kind of sliding up onto that 9th fret there on the G string again. And then back to those double stops at the 8th fret there on the B and the high E string, just kind of staccato. And then we have this. So that's going to be kind of a series of double stops. So this is the 8th fret across the B and the high E, then the 10th fret on those same two strings, then the same thing up to 11, and then back down to 10, 8. Let's try this. Then over to the 11th fret there on the G and the B, down to 10, and down to 8. So like this. From there, we're going to go back to the 10s, and he bends these slightly. Now, whenever I do a bend, some people, they kind of just do a one finger. I like to kind of separate it. It likes me to control the bend a little bit more. So I just hold both. I just ring finger on the G string and pinky on the B string. And then kind of do a bend. And then go back to the double stops at the 8th fret on the B and the high E. So we have this. So when you get to those double stops, we're going to go 8, 10, 8. And then back down. The double stops at 11 on the G and the B, 10, 8. So we have this. Then back to those, the 10th fret there on the G and the B together. And then there's a series of bends there, so that's why I'm using two fingers there. And then it goes, release that bend, play 8 on the B and the G, and then to the 10 on the D, and then back to the 8 on the G and the B. So this, kind of in context. Again, we hit those 8s a couple times, and then back to. So kind of like a couple more bends there. And then we do that double stop at the G and the B on the 8th fret with a quick hammer on the 9th fret on the G. So here he kind of starts doing this same lick, but he does it a little bit different timing. So he's just basically, when you're down here on the D string there at the end of this run, right there, when you get to that D, then we have this. So that's the double stop at the 10th fret on the G and the B, and then that double stop into that hammer that we did before, then over to 10. So that's the lick. So he plays it like 3 times at this timing. So you kind of might be hitting that D a couple times when you get down to D strings. We have it's a C note, but you're hitting that D string a couple times. Like that, and then he speeds it up. So you can play straight through 5 times without any pausing. So that's just that double stop at the 10 and the G and the B, then a quick hammer, and then the 10. So that lick done 5 times. And then we're going to end the solo like this. So you're going to hit those double stops at the 8th fret on the high E and the B a couple times. And then that same lick we just did like 8 times. So with it. And then that same lick again. And then what he does, you can grab the G here, which is the 10th fret on the A, 9th on the D, 10 on the G. But you can hear in the voicing he plays on the recording. You can hear those low notes in there. So if you want to try to go for that voicing that's on the recording, you'll have to jump back. I'm sorry. And grab this G7 back here, which is full bar 3rd fret. And then in front of that bar, 5th fret on the A, 4th fret on the G, and 6th fret there on the B. So all together for the solo. All right, and then we're back to the same 1, 4, 5 kind of progressions that we did earlier. But there is like kind of this cool little outro solo that happens real quick, and it looks like this. So it's those kind of things. So what we're going to start here is we're going to kind of rake across a C major triad. So that's going to be the 10th fret there on the D, 9th on the G, and 8th on the B. Now the key to this, a little bit of slight palm muting here, or at least on the D and the G. Now you see what I'm doing there? Just kind of raking across 3 strings. It's like a downstroke to just kind of, it's like one single stroke. That's like a timed rake across the strings. And when I get to this B string, it's not really muted. So a lot of the timing comes from the fret hand. So you notice I'm not going, I'm kind of trying to separate those notes. So I'm releasing the pressure as I go across. It doesn't have that bad to keep it there. It's so quick. You can just do like that if you want. The muting will then kind of really come from the picking hand. So So after you get to that B string, come up here. You just had the 10th fret across the G and the B, and then 12th fret on the G, 11th on the B. So we do that 4 times. All right, and then we're going to come up here and play the 13th fret there on the B, 14th on the G, and then a bar at the 15th fret across the B and the G, and then 17th fret on the G and 16th there on the B. So we have this. Then, so after you do it twice there, then back to where we started. And then it just kind of fades out. All right, so it's got some really challenging, it's a great stretching exercise, I guess, the chord work. And then some really cool kind of that classic kind of rockabilly, just little classic rock kind of blues type licks, tons of double stops. So it's really fun stuff to kind of just dig into. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you again soon for GuitarLessons365.com.